Muted. Now I shouldn't be muted. How are you, everybody? It's nice and decent for a change. It's warm, and I just saw the pictures of Loch Ness. The Loch Ness monster just came out. Well, it's been out for a few days, but I just saw it. I forgot to mention it to you guys. Uh, do we really think that's Loch Ness monster? I hope it is. I hope it is. I hope there's some monster there, but we all know the truth. It's just great to think that there's evidence or lack of something to stir people's minds to think of the unnatural and the supernatural and everything. Even though I see evidence of ghosts around, I'm a skeptic, I guess. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't believe in things that are, because I haven't witnessed it. I haven't seen, or heard, things floating around like poltergeists or, all of a sudden there's a shake and one thing falls off a desk or you hear knocking at the door. It doesn't bother me. I don't have any experience with that. I've never had any experience. And then I tell people this, and I think everyone tells me, "Oh, you got to be more open minded." Well, I mean, to what? To what? There's nothing there. To what? What am I going to be open minded about? You try to believe something that I really don't believe in. I mean, give me evidence. I mean, I've been into some spooky places, and I've never felt like somebody was watching me or anything. It's all in your mind. I don't know. I've never experienced it. I don't. Uh, and that's just because it's me. Unless something happens, like Shamrock says there. I could believe. I could believe ghosts and the supernatural exist, but not Loch Ness, and he knows. Um, it's just great for the tourists, isn't it, Shamrock? It's just great. Bring some money into the local economy. But yeah, the thing about being visited by relatives. I mean, I'm not knocking anybody who believes it, because there's some things I believe in that people will laugh at me. I still believe in Santa Claus, so take that for what you will. If I see, if there is evidence and I experience it, then change my mind. That's what I say. That's what I say. Like again, non-believer, skeptic, two different things. Dave had a show about this, I think. Yeah, I don't wake up hearing people whispering my name, and I don't see if some things are moving in my house. Two things are going to happen. Either I'm going to run away, or whatever's there, I'm going to punch. And that's it. Remember Dogma? There was that episode where the Metatron came in and was trying to communicate, and it was a big flame and spouting the words of a message, and she just took the fire extinguisher, just put it out. I think some of us are like that. You know, it's a weird world we live in, and it's an exciting world we live in, and a lot of us believe in different things, and that's what make us great. So, all right, grubby little hands edition. What did I get this week? I had to save my money because I'm going to Monster Mania this weekend, and I plan on meeting up with the cast of Return of the Living Dead, and that's probably where I'm all going to spend my money on. I think Tobin Bell's going to be there, Susan Sarandon, Gina Davis, the cast from Terrifier 2, Eugene Clark, who's Big Daddy in Land of the Dead. I don't who else? I think Tobin Bell and Danielle Harris will be there. She's always at these things. Tobin Bell and Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis are the biggest. So I think their lines are going to be huge, which I really don't care. But yeah, okay, let's talk about what I picked up. I got a package in, so you guys can watch me open that. Comics I picked up today. I got number 8 of Hello Darkness, the anthology, kind of like Creep Show. Let's see. Continuing with Terminator. It's okay. once I start a series, I gotta go to the end. And continuing with Space Ghost. I love Space Ghost, especially guys, if you remember Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And a package. Here it is. Just got it in. So let's take a look. Let's see. Let's see. Just came in. The mailman just dropped it off. And I get so much stuff. It's just unbelievable. And a lot of this stuff people send me, which is very nice. Very nice. That's how I got Neil's Frankenstein. I was very... Well, it'd be nice if I saw the open with care, no scissors, no sharp object. Jesus. Okay. That's the thing about doing these on opening boxes. I like doing stuff in front of you guys because I don't like pre-opening. I think half the fun is watching me struggle trying to open this. Okay. Oh, this is a great thing. I ordered this. No. Yeah, I bought this. I'll take this off. These are all prices and stuff. Bubble wrap. That's what I got. No. Here we go. The first ever Toxic Avenger comic. Graded in its slab, which means you can never crack this open again. So yeah, at a 9.8. Yeah. You can hear that, right? Very cool. Can never open it. You can crack it open, but why would you want to do that? It even's got the turtle game on it for the advertisement. I like that. All right. Put that aside. Put that away. Pretty good stuff. Take the box. Throw it down. All right. Let's talk about why we are here. Let's bring that up. I'm in the top corner. Everyone can see me. I'm kind of feeling like the entrance to Emerald City in the Wizard of Oz. You know how we did maybe 2 weeks ago? We did 2 weeks ago. We did why are these horror movies from the 80s not 100%? Because a lot of us think they are. Hey, Raggedy Man, what's going on? And I see everybody else there on the chat. So I picked, why are these horror movies of the 80s, do they deserve to be rotten? So let's figure out, I want to get myself in there. I'm going to cut off some of the posters. I didn't want to cut off some of the splats and the scores because that would be ridiculous. By the looks of the poster, you could probably figure out what they are anyway. So the criteria I set for this was these had to be around the 55 mark and below. There's one or two that I put near 60 just because I couldn't believe it was that low. But yeah, 55% and lower gets a splatter. Let's take a look. Let's see some of these movies. I didn't put any of the critics' little blurps there because having me read all these last time I was on for almost an hour and a half. But let's talk about them. I got about 2 to 4 posters with their rankings or their percentages together on a slide. So, all right. First slide, you know how this worked considering what happened last time, starting with 1980, going all the way up to 1989. Let's take a look. First bunch. So we got Prom Night, Terror Train, and Mother's Day. If none of you have seen these movies, let me know, but I know I've seen all of them. So Prom Night at 45%, Terror Train at 47%, Mother's Day at 46%. I think Mother's Day being in between these guys in percentages is kind of weird because that means Prom Night is a little lower than Mother's Day. I think Mother's Day is not a bad movie. I don't. Terror Train, Prom Night, So I think these first two, Prom Night and Terror Train, coming out in the same year, I would give Prom Night a little bit of a higher score just because I think of Leslie Nielsen dancing, and I get happy. This doesn't go up by much, maybe at least to 50. But I think Prom Night is pretty terrible. I think Terror Train is pretty terrible. Both Jamie Lee Curtis movies. And Mother's Day at 46. I think these scores are. I think Mother's Day is kind of low. But Prom Night and Terror Train are kind of right. What do you guys think? I think these three are kind of, except for Mother's Day. I'm gonna get comfortable here. I think Mother's Day is actually lower than it should be. But the other two are right. So Matthew, what's going on? Matt says, I enjoy Mother's Day. My father-in-law always talked about how the monster at the end always scared him when he was younger. And Welchman, what's going on, buddy? Haven't seen Mother's Day, but I enjoyed Prom Night and Terror Train. I give both of them in the 50s. So not too much higher, but so far, these scores are looking like they are kind of right. And to put on the reviews of a few top critics that like these movies would have been one or two, and then we'd be here forever talking about all of them. So I think this is actually quite accurate. All right, let's get into 1981, the year I was born. I think, is there 1980 left? Let's take a look. No, 1981. This is a travesty. This is an absolute travesty. All right. Friday the 13th Part 2, which is arguably the start of the franchise. Arguably, you can argue that. It's where we get Jason. 33%. That is awful. That is absolute dog crap. I have to say, this is this at 33%. I would maybe make it into the 60s. You know, give it a nice little tomato there. Not fresh, but give it a tomato. I mean, you can argue that this is a good movie. You really can. Scary, terrifying. You know, Harry's score is great. Terrific cinnamon. I was gonna say cinnamon toffee. I saved that for the other channel. Cinematography, great acting. I don't understand. This is probably my first. No, it's my second favorite out of the franchise. So yeah, I mean, right? Yeah, we're gonna go through all of these individually, one by one. John Jones says, "Oh come on, Friday Part 2 is way better than that. Halloween 2 as well. Never seen Ghost Story, but I'll check it out. Ghost Story is okay, you know, but 33%. I don't agree with that. Now these are also Gene Siskel. Half of these are probably Gene Siskel rating all this stuff. And at Chester right here, I agree with you, buddy. Halloween 2 should have been higher. Is it perfect? No, but it's absolutely terrifying in the hospital setting. When I first watched this, I was terrified of hospitals, especially ones that are creepy, desolate. There's nobody in there. 33%? No, put it in the 70s. I don't get it. It continues on the same day. I don't know why people like it. There's not really much of a difference. I mean, I guess what the critics were saying is that there's not much stalking anymore. And Michael wasn't hiding in the shadows. Well, yeah, because I don't want to say the joke, but the whole thing about Michael stalking people it was over. You know, hiding in the shadows and waiting and jumping out and scaring people. Well, I know there's parts where he jumps in and jumps out, but that's over with. He's pissed. He's going after Laurie. We find out why. So there's no need for the audience to really be that scared. So let's put it up a little higher. And Ghost Story, I haven't seen in a long time, but 28%. You know, Jamie says right here, what? Ghost Story is amazing. 28% is messed up. Friday the 13th Part 2 is my favorite of the series. And Halloween 2 is a classic. This is all out of whack. I agree. Matt continues and says, "What I'm looking at, Friday the Part 2 is at least a 65. H2 is 70%, and Ghost Story, I don't know. Watch Ghost Story. I think you would like it. I don't think it deserves 28%. It is, right, Welshman? Right? Those scores, awful. Wow, how? How is it? How is it that these are so low? Especially Halloween 2. Well, actually, I should take that back. Out of both of these, ladies and gentlemen, Halloween 2 and Friday the 13th Part 2, in a percentage wise, do you think, I think Friday the 13th Part 2 is a little higher than Halloween. Eric M. Maybe you got a point here. Jamie Lee Curtis's wig in H2 brings it down 50%. Ha! I like the little joke. Ha! Should I do the Nelson one? Ha ha! I can't even do that. It's not like a clown horn. Okay, let's continue. What else do we have? Do we have more 81? Yes. So this first one that I'm blocking is Deadly Blessing at 43%. Mad Men at 27%, which Darren and I have done a best and worst of, which we actually thought was funny towards the after we were talking about it. Happy Birthday to Me, I think we talked about, and then Final Exam. I think these scores are actually quite accurate. Maybe off by a percentage point, give or take. Deadly Blessing, that's Wes Craven, isn't it? I haven't seen it in a long time. Shamrock, going back to the last slide, said they are both too low, but I agree Friday the 13th Part 2 is a better film. It is. I admit that, and I'm a Halloween fan, but it takes a lot to admit when something's wrong. Deadly Blessing, you guys got to remind me what that is, what that's about. I don't remember. I've seen Mad Men. I've seen Happy Birthday to Me and Final Exam. Will I go back and watch any of these? No. But you got to admit something. The posters back in the 80s were iconic. Iconic. So I believe these are right. They should be okay. Let me know what you guys think. Deadly Blessing, Mad Men. I should say it this way. Deadly Blessing at 43%. Mad Men 27. Happy Birthday to Me 29. Final Exam 13. Yep, I think they're quite right. Posters are pretty cool. All right, let's continue. I really didn't like Happy Birthday to Me. I could see some points in Mad Men, especially the jacuzzi or hot tub scene. Oh my God, did Darren and I have fun with that one? Would you go swimming with a guy whose initials are TP? Oh, Shamrock, I agree with you, buddy. The posters were better than the movies. These are artwork. These are art. Fair scores. Thank you, Jamie. Fair scores. All right. Okay, let's continue. That's okay, Janine. Welshman says, I've seen Mad Men. It was, you can say Mad Men or Madman. I guess, what was his name? Madman Mardigan or something like that, right? There's only like one or two good actors. And Betsy, who is in it, she's, what's her name? She's also in Something to Tide You Over. She was Becky, Ted Danson's mistress. It was good. My Chucky Jordy, what's going on? It says Deadly Blessing has Sharon Stone in it, and it's Wes Craven, but I can't remember what it was about. As not seen since I was a kid. Yeah, that's another one I have. It's not one of the Wes Craven movies that you really think of when you think of his name. All right, let's continue. And so we're agreeing these are about right? Okay. Okay. Slumber Party Massacre, 46%. Amityville 2, The Possession, And look at that. Friday the 13th, 3D. So part 3, 3D at 11%. 11%. How could you? Okay, let's go back really quick. 33% for part 2. You're gonna notice a pattern here. Slumber Party Massacre is at a 46%. 46% compared to part 2's 33%. And then Amityville 2, The Possession, which is a lot of people's favorite. I think Colin Murdy likes part 2. And criminally, part 3, 3D of Friday the 13th at 11%. It is a travesty. It shouldn't be even that low. It should be given back to the critics. Taking all the critics that reviewed this that are considered dead now. Gene Siskel. That's right. That's right, Raggedy Man. These are definitely Siskel tainted because he never liked any of the Friday 13th. You should get those scores and have audiences. How do you think they should be? They should be reissued. I think that a lot of these scores should be reissued. I think what they need to do is take children from the 80s, people from the 80s, and redo it with fresh eyes. And then maybe the scores will go up. Maybe the scores will go lower, especially with today's audience. Hey, Brett, what's going on? Good afternoon. Fun topic. Amityville 2 was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Yep. And then Darren, what's going on, buddy? Says critics really lost their rag with slashers as the 80s rolled on. Yep, they did. However, with last week, Darren, or 2 weeks ago, you would see that some of them were okay. A dime a dozen, or it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. Some of these. Jamie says Amityville 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. 27% is ridiculous. The possession performance is outstanding, and that kid alone deserves a better score. Plus, I love Diane Franklin. Yep. Janine says the only one I've seen out of the 3 is Friday the 13th, part 3D. Yeah, it's out of that alone, Janine. You got to say 11% is actually quite low and terrible. All right, half hour in. We still got more than 3/4 of the decade to go. So let's continue. Everyone grab a drink, wet your whistle. I got a new soda. Did you guys ever see this? Zero sugar, wild cherry, and cream. It's okay. It leaves an aftertaste though. It's not bad aftertaste. But, I didn't have any Diet Coke. So, this is all I had. All right. Continue with 82. The Beast Within, 18%. Halloween 3, 51%. Again, let's go back. Halloween 2, 33%. Halloween 3, 51%. Now, there is a lot of us out there that don't like Halloween 3. Yet, there's a lot of us out there, and I think Darren and I are one of them, including Dave, and a lot of the creators out there that would say that part 3 is actually grown on them. I think Halloween 3 is a terrific movie. I think it's awesome. I think from what I remember back then, I didn't like it because of Michael, but as its own movie, just using the title, and it was going to be a anthology. I think 51% is criminally low. I think it should at least be in the 60s. Shamrock says decent score for Halloween 3, all considered, but not better than 2 though. Yep. So Darren goes, actually, Damien Dimani directed Amityville 2. Everyone's checking. Matthew Jensen said, I love to knock Halloween 3 to a good 60%. Yep. I love Halloween 3, one of my favorites. Chester says, I love H3 a lot. Should have been in the 60s. Welshman says, I would have expected H3 score to be much lower. Maybe they gave it a higher score because it went away from the Michael story. Excuse me. I give it in the 60s. So we're all in agreement. We're all in agreement. And then Jamie, it's been a long time since I've seen The Beast Within. Great poster, though. All I remember is that's the one where the guy's head is starting to, get mounds on it, right? Just pop, 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 just throbbing in and out, kind of like scanners. I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe that's why. If you haven't seen a movie more than once or twice since you were born, well, since you were able to watch that movie, maybe it deserves to be that low. Maybe it does. I mean, The Beast Within deserves a better score than 18%. I know it's not for everyone, but 18% seems low. It's generally scary. I read the book at least 10 times in my life. The book is usually better, right? Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so pretty low. 83, we're getting to The Keep at 39%, which I haven't seen. So you guys are going to have to help me out. And Amityville 3D, 18%. Out of these two, since I only seen one, I think 18% for Amityville 3D is actually correct. I had no enjoyment with that movie. It was cheesy. It was during that time where, as we were saying on the Slaughter Lamb, that they just put stuff in your face just to make it seem like it's 3D. And The Keep, it was The Keep, the one that sold out when the 4K came out. Is that the one with the monster with red eyes? Let me know. Isn't that The Keep? It should be. Let me look that up really quick. Let's see. The Keep. 1983, right? It is. It is. That's the one where the 4K, right? Scott Glenn, Ian McKellen, Gabriel Byrne, Alberto Watson. Yeah, these are all okay. Yeah, this is the one where everyone tried to buy the 4K and it sold out, right? Yeah. Yeah, Amityville 3D though. Jamie says it's fair. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and Brett, you're right. I remember we watched the Colin episode, years ago. Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that's actually quite. I think that's fine. I think that's fine for that score. Yeah, Darren. Yeah, Michael Mann. Right. It wasn't that the one where it's the. Yeah, I mean it's the one where it's sold out quickly. The 4K, you can't get it anywhere. I mean, how much is it going for? I know I know I'm diverting here, ladies and gentlemen, but I want to see how much this was going for. Vinegar Syndrome. Look at that. On Amazon, which they don't have it yet, which has been it's coming out. The Ultra 4K is going for $140. $140. Jesus. And then Vinegar Syndrome standard edition is around $34.99. The limited edition slipcase is sold out. It was $44.99. But the standard edition they still have. Oh, what's that? I mean, big deal. There's a slipcase. Special edition slipcase. Who cares? They said everything else is the same. I don't know how that would be. Yeah, he's right. It went instantly. Yep. Jordan says, I hesitated and only got the standard edition. By the looks of it, Jordan, you're not really missing much. because according to Vinegar Syndrome, which they will be at Monster Mania, I'm going to see if they have any extra copies of this. And if they do, ladies and gentlemen, maybe I'll pick a few up and Darren and I will raffle them off, depending how much they are. If they're selling them, though, for like $150, you guys have to pay us for. Yeah, the keep. I mean, it's all. It looks like it's all just from what I see. Yeah, it's still the same. All right, $140 though. Jeez. Matthew, the price is in the slipcase. That precious, precious slipcase, which breaks easily and rips and tears easily. How dare you, Frank? There might be a booklet. I don't know if it is. From what I'm looking at, it's just a slipcase. It went from $34.99 to $44.99. It just $10 for a. All right, let's continue. 84, Chud, which I think Darren and I are going to do. Chud at 40%. Firestarter, 40%. And Children of the Corn, 38%. Firestarter is kind of low. I can have fun with it. Chud, I can have fun with. It's not going to be above 50. Firestarter is going to be around 55. Children of the Corn, I can just never get into. So I might even put that down lower. So I think these are about right. Andrew says Frank wouldn't think twice about dropping 140 on a comic. It's graded, damn it. It's in its own case. It's not just a comic. It's been graded. Whatever makes my mind and what I always tell myself the reason to buy these things. It's been graded. No one's touched it. It's at a 9.8. Yeah, but it's not out of 10, Frank, which means it's not perfect. We're doing Chud? I don't know. We were always laughing about it right there. Chud. We're going to get to it. We're running out of ideas, Darren, so you might as well do something. Chud. You know what you should do? I didn't want to tell you guys this. Darren, shut off the speakers for a moment. Remember when we were doing the Blob and I was talking about the stuff? Do you know that Rotten Tomatoes has the stuff at 79% while the Blob is in the 60s? Just to have that, we were doing the verses. So couldn't Chud be versing humanoids from the deep? And it looks like maybe Chud would win out from humanoids. Did Chud win out over humanoids? Will it? I don't know. Humanoids is actually coming up. So remember that 40%. Yeah, but the stuff, Darren, is 79%. He didn't turn off his phones. I know his buds. I know that. Yes. The stuff is I could buy, and I think I might. I might put it up here somewhere. There's actually, you could buy on Etsy a container of the stuff spilling out. It comes all in resin, and it just I think it'd be great just to have it in the back. Raggedy Man says, I never seen Chud. A lot of people haven't. It's with Daniel Stern and John Hurd. It's been a long time. I remember there's people living in the sewer. Shamrock Ball says, watched the Children of the Corn for the first time recently. Was okay. Can't complain about the score other than it's not better than Friday. Friday 2, Friday 3, or Halloween 2. My Chucky Joy says, I like Firestar, but the other ones, nope. Matt says, I think the percentages are accurate. I possibly move Firestarter to a 55 and bring Children of the Corn to a solid 40. Okay, I agree with you with that. Welshman says, Firestarter, I give a 50, but Children of the Corn should be in the low 20%. Hey, Byron, what's going on? What? The stuff wasn't that great, but the marketing for it was actually brilliant. Yeah. Chuff. The chuff. Ooh, it still tastes good. Mm. And Rick Ebb, Chud is mindless fun. Children of the Corn is absolutely dreadful. Yeah. So I think these scores, except for maybe Firestarter, are about right, give or take. I think Firestarter should be a little bit higher. The remake is dreadful. It's dreadful, and the sequel is not too good either. All right, let's go to, are we more 84 or 85? I don't even know my own slides. All right, 84. Here we go. The beloved final chapter. Your part 4. It's not one of my favorites, but part 4, 22%. 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. Silent Night, Deadly Night is at 52. Is at 52%. And, so them thinking that Silent Night, Deadly Night is better than the beloved Friday the 13th, the final chapter, part 4. Did I say fart? Part 4 is at its 22% by 30 percentage points. 30%. A few, so you got about 3 to 4 critics, depending on if they give, roughly a math. You got 10 critics there, 3 of them thinking, it's better than what everyone else is saying. Oh, Shamrock. Wow. Part 4 is overrated, but it should be higher than 22%. Jordan Moran. The Rotten Tomatoes can officially F off. Good point, Shamrock. Switch these scores. Yeah, fart 4. Damn, that's crazy score for part 4. Oh, Raggedy Man, reverse these scores. Yeah. Friday the 13th, fart 4. It's hard to say, god damn it. Janine says 22%? What? Oh my God. I think that's more than Janine's ever said about one of these movies. These critics are sour ass hats. Friday the 13th part 4 is amaze balls. Ted White is my favorite Jason. There's a lot of people's. Look at all these people going for part 4. Could you believe that? I had to put the comparison up. Don't explode. Another soda. I think this soda was like a day old. It was still open in the fridge. Let's take a fresh sip. The stuff. That's good. All right. Jamie says Silent Night, Deadly Night got thrown from theaters, yet has a 52%. I don't get these critics at all. Critiques at all. Well, the Final Friday and Silent Night, Deadly Night especially are hilarious from Rick M. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And think about this. There is a comic book, which I might get. There's one thing about horror movies and comic books. And Darren has the comic book version of The Fog, which goes after the movie, which I think that's the one thing about horror movies and comic books. They can continue the story. There's plenty of Jason comic books out there. I'll show it to you maybe next time. Friday the 13th, the final Friday, so part 9. I got the 3 edition comic. There's 3 parts. I got them all. They actually made a Leatherface versus Jason from Topps. I think I only have the first. No, I have the third one. I need the first and the second. Easy to get. And then they're having Billy. Who's doing it? American Mythology. If you guys want to look that up, you don't have to. American Mythology is doing, already did Silent Night, Deadly Night versus My Bloody Valentine. It's actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, but Silent Night, Deadly Night is better, according to the critics, than part 4. Where's the book? Slam the book. Beach Dad says, my mom seen the final chapter in theaters with some girlfriends. She said the best part was the black guy that was sitting behind them yelling, bitch, run. I have a friend who's we grew up and went to high school. Then his dad and him moved because he was in the military. He was black, and I remember him. His name was Charlie Charlie Johnson, and we would go to the movie theater, and we saw one of these horror movies, these jump scare. I think we went to see The Ring with him, and he said to us, me and a bunch of friends, he said, what are we doing? And he said, we're gonna go see the movie, and we're gonna go see a movie. He goes, what movie we're seeing? We're gonna go see The Ring. And he just stared at us. He was like, no, I ain't seeing it. I go, come on, Charlie, let's go. I say, okay. So he sat there next to me, and when what's her name? What was her name? Samara or Samoa, whatever her name is. She came out of the TV. You could hear him screaming. It busted my ear. He goes, kick that TV with the bitch in it. And I was like, damn, Charlie, my ear. And he goes, freaky shit. I love him. I should talk to him. I got to see where he is. He was in the his dad was in the military for the longest time. His dad's got to be retired by now. His dad's got to be in the 70s. Yeah, he was with us for 6 years, and then he left. I think he was going to the Philippines. I think that's where he was going. His dad was stationed next. That was Air Force. So the Philippines does make. I'm a military brat myself. My dad was in the Air Force, so I think that's where he was going, or Korea, somewhere around there, somewhere around the Asian Pacific area. But I miss him. He was a funny guy. Loved him to death. Kick that TV in with the bitch in it. Get the remote. Take the batteries out of the remote. Damn it. Oh, all right. Oh, memories. Here we go. 1985. The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2. 0%. Everyone hates it. Silver Bullet, criminally 41%. Part 5, 17, which I think it should be up now. And then Godzilla 1985, which came out in 1984, but America 1985, 22%. I think, first of all, going from right to left, Godzilla at 22%, the first Godzilla movie I've ever saw. I think that should be at least a 65 to 70%. Part 5, 17%. I guess so. I don't really like part 5 because everyone's like, oh, it's not Jason. Well, that's kind of half of it. Let's see. Silver Bullet, 41%. I think that's absolutely low. I think it should be in the 60s as well. And The Hills Have Eyes, Part 2. I think if they gave it a 0, I mean, how much? There's not one person that liked it. Not one. Compared to the first one, I agree. But I don't know what's wrong with the second one. Jamie says, I've seen all of these in the theater. Jamie's a moviegoer. Love it. Ryan says Friday the 13th Part 5 is totally underrated in the whole franchise. And you know what, Ryan? Some people may argue with you about 9. I could, right? After trying to defend it. Underrated, considering what it was going to be. But I do have to give Ryan that the kills in part 5 are great. So 17% now that you're making me think. All right, maybe about 30s. Raggedy Man says Silver Bullet has an adorable little scamp in the background. 100%. I do like Silver Bullet. Janine Whitcomb, get Godzilla 84 or 85 higher. 100%. And then let's see. Hey, Tyler, what's going on at Field of Screens podcast? Check him out, ladies and gentlemen. I give a part 5 at least a 65. I always enjoyed it. Okay. And then Matthew says Godzilla needs to be 60. Friday 13th is at least a 40. Silver Bullet is good where it is at. And Hill's no clue where to place it. I think that's why maybe it's at 0, Matt. And Shamrock goes, love part 5 too low. Yep. Okay, halfway there. And then, of course, Chester reminded us that part 5 didn't know Jason, but I got to give credit to Roy with the kills. Yep. That's the thing. I mean, if we just saw his hand, I got to go back and look. If you see Roy killing people, we saw Jason. So you got to realize it wasn't Jason by looking at his hands. Was Roy's hand like all dirty and grimy? And then he went back to being a paramedic or an EMT and washed him and cut his fingernails? Let me know, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that is a tell of him. So I don't know. At least show a mask, a part of the mask. This way we can say, oh yeah, there's Jason, and then figure it out. But no, we saw the hands and the coveralls. For all we know, it's just Roy, with no mask on. I don't know why. All right, let's see. 1985 continuing. Oh, let me hide you, Chester, so we can hear the score. So, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, one of the beloved sequels, which is in some cases the scariest Freddy, 42%. The Howling 2, 31%. The New Kids on the Block, 40%. So, Shamrock says, for fuck's sake, Frank, Roy was method, getting into character. God, where did he get the mask? Can you please tell me that, Shamrock? Where did he get the mask? Did he go into the store, a couple knives, a robe, and a couple Halloween masks? Did he just go into Karloff's and just say, I'll take the hockey mask, I'll take this belt, let's see what else. I'll take, I don't know, I'll take this cleaver. Oh, Roy, what are you gonna do with these? Oh, nothing. I'm just, going on a murderous rampage because I'm upset my kid died. Oh, good luck to you with that. Nightmare on Elm Street at 42%, too low. Halloween. The Howling 2, 31%. I kind of agree with. New Kids, 40%. We watched that with Dave, and I think it deserves to be there. Let's see. Matt says, love Nightmare 2, at least a 60%. Okay. Shamrock says 42% is good for part 2. But I'm biased and I think it should be slightly higher. Welshman says, fucking hell, Halloween 2 at 31. I mean, Howling 2 at 31%. That's way too high. The only good part of it's the ending, right? The credits. Shamrock says, I don't know, Frank. I'll need to rewatch it with my Columbo head on. You have to. Take a look at his hands, then take a look at Roy's hands, and let me know, did he grow fucking fingernails within a span between each killing and got them all dirty? Why not just not wear a mask? Shit. That's what we should do. Breaking down movies that don't make any sense. Chester says Elm Street has some good stuff in it. It does. Okay, let's go. Now we're a little bit over halfway. What are we at? 1986? Tell you the truth, I don't think there's a 1986, but we'll take a look. It's warm today. It's actually nice out. 1986, Maximum Overdrive, 14%. Deserves it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 52%. All that yelling and screaming that Darren loves is still higher than any Friday the 13th movie in the franchise. And Critters at 52%. I agree with Maximum Overdrive. Kind of agree with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Critters should be higher. That's it. Yeah, so Maximum Overdrive. I remember being bored by it. And then, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was making fun of The Breakfast Club. And Critters is okay. I actually think part 2 is better, to tell you the truth. I think it's a little bit more comical. All right, let's continue. What do you guys think? Jamie Harris says, I'm going to assume that the rest of the lot of movies I've seen in the theater. Maximum Overdrive, 100%. Are you sure, Raggedy Man? Or are you just taking the piss? Anything with Emilio Estevez in it should be at least 40. Yeah, I'd rather take Charlie, right? Matthew says Maximum is fine where it's at. Texas 2 is my favorite, but fine where it's at. And Critters is okay where it's at, maybe 55. Byron says Critters should be at least 65 to 70. What's going on, Dave? What's up? Love Maximum Overdrive. From Jamie, and Welshman says Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a fair score, but Critters, for me, should be in the 70s. It's so funny because some of these movies have a emotional attachment for us. So Critters, I remember just having fun with it. Yeah, 52 is kind of low. Chester says, I'm not a fan. The score is fine. Okay. Let's see what's next. Continue with 86. There's a lot of movies that came out in 86. Deadly Friend at 20%. Poltergeist 2 at 20%. And Class of Nukem High, 20%. Now, there's a lot more movies. I forgot to tell you at the beginning of this. There's a lot more movies that were below the 50% mark. I picked the ones that were kind of had either a theatrical release or everybody knows. I'm not going to pick something called, The Killer Puppeteer or something like that. No one ever heard of it or ever saw it. So why even put it on here? So Deadly Friend, 20%. Okay, the only thing good about it, and Darren loves it, is the basketball head scene. I do feel bad for the robot in the beginning when I was a kid. I remember kind of getting upset that the robot died. And then now looking at the robot, I kind of don't care, if that makes sense. Poltergeist 2, I agree with you, Shamrock. I agree. That Poltergeist 2 score is criminal. Should be higher. It should be higher. It just, if you look at it from I guess, logistics and the way of the story and everything, the way it's set up, it doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of rough towards the end because of all the nonsense, bullshit, and cursing and all the curses and dying that was going around. Part 3 is worse, with all that stuff, because I don't think there's a curse with this. I just think, everybody was misdiagnosed. And if you put somebody in there who was sick already to play Kane, who's actually buried not too far away from where I live, who looked sickly anyway and wasn't going to make, the 6-month shoot, you're kind of scrambling. That's, you're setting yourself up to fail. Matt says, Deadly Friend is at least 100% because of the head exploding. The Poltergeist needs to be at 65%, and Nukem is fine. Welshman says the Poltergeist score is criminal. Jamie Hart, Poltergeist 2 deserves much better score. There is some scary stuff in it, like when Steven drinks the worm and the tequila and gets possessed. Yeah, remember when it comes out too, and the thing crawls away? That's an actual actor. And that actual actor, I think, was also in Dawn of the Dead, the remake, the Zack Snyder one. He was the zombie crawling on the top of the pipes, and when they were in the garage, and he was a war victim, a soldier, and he found a niche in acting. Instead of, he actually had an interview written down where he said, a director needed someone like him instead of doing, prosthetics, trying to solve this, putting up a fake person, a dummy, or getting a cast. And he's found, and they loved him. He can act, and he's actually using his disability. And I think he just passed away not too long ago. He actually used his disability for the benefit and got work. Good for him, Ryan says Poltergeist 2 deserves more love. It doesn't get talked about more enough. Exactly. That's going to be my next episode. Guys, I have an episode coming up where there's going to be movies that don't get enough love and you need to watch. It's going to be covering the whole aspect of the movie genres. I got some kung fu in there. I got some horror in there. I got some comedy in there, action. Shamrock says, I agree, Frank. The ending tails off, too, is not in the league of the original, but it's a decent follow-up. Yep. Henry Kane. That's right. Y'all gonna die in there. God is in his holy temple. Everybody. God is in his holy temple. I'll sing you a song. All right. I can't go on. I'm not going to do it. And from Chester, Poltergeist 2 deserves more love. Should be a higher score. Yep. Little Heather O'Rourke. Bless her. All right. Here, Shamrock. Creepshow 2, 29%. Terrible score. I have fond memories with this. My grandfather, God bless him, loved Creepshow. Thanks for the ride, lady. That's all he would say. Fond memories, 29%. Terrible, terrible, terrible. The Gate, which Darren and I just did not too long ago, 36%. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Jaws 2, The Revenge, 2%. Exactly where it needs to be. Take that, Shamrock. 2%. Deserves it. At least it was higher than The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. But geez Louise. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to let you guys, if you're new to the channel or new to TSL, not going to let you understand why I'm moving on from it. Go back and look. I'm not going to go in on this movie. I'm not. Shamrock, you are the expert in this. We had you on. I'm not going in. I'm not touching it. However, the score is perfect. 22%. I was going to say 22. I was going to even give it a higher score. 2%. Creepshow, however, 29. No. Stupid. And The Gate, 36%. Darren, actually, when he watched this, was actually he said he loved it. He thought it was great. 36%. Coming out, I think it's coming out in 4K. No, NECA is doing the little dolls. I think so, a little demon doll. Shamrock, you're not getting any support here. Chester, 2%. Yes, 2%. That's fucking scandalous. 2% is quite generous. Welshman says, "Wow, Jaws 4. That's high." Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you very much. Craig says Jaws: The Revenge is so much fun, better than 3, more entertaining than 2. What? What? Oh, I was gonna make a joke, but I'd probably be taken off, so I'm not gonna do it. Matthew says it's perfectly fine where it is. Ryan, 2% for Jaws 4. Wow, just wow. Vanderhoff, I still haven't seen The Gate. I think you'll like it. Take a look at our best and worst of, and then just let me know if you were gonna watch it or not. Just let me know if it's in your forte, of what you like. Ryan says props to Lorraine Gray. She did the best she could with what she was given as an actress. Yep. They forgot the slash in front of that too. Oh, it must have been hard for her to fill her co-star Roy Schneider's shoes. I think it's Schreider. Creepshow 2 was good moments, but 29%. No, it should be higher. Yep. Okay. Getting away from this catastrophe that is Jaws 2. Not saying it's a catastrophe, Shamrock. I'm saying it's a catastrophe for me because I can put my foot in my mouth sometimes. Continue with 87. That's Slumber Party Massacre Part 2. Not even rated. Which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. You can have 0% or not rated. Or not even reviewed. Maybe that's what it is. Not reviewed. Like, I rather, if somebody says, Frank, we made a movie. We think it's god awful, but we just don't have time to review it. All right. And then the one before you, the movie that we reviewed is a 0%. Do you want us to review it or should we go to lunch? I'd be like, nope, I'm good to lunch. Leave it. I'd rather see a no review than a 0%. House 2, which Brett and Pat did all on Pat's channel. That's 8%. Criminally low. The Howling 3. The Howling 3 is better than House 2. Think about that. House 2, fun little, kid movie, has Kane Hodder in it as a gorilla. I think, I think that doesn't deserve to be 8%. If you're putting that at 8%, then you should put The Gate at 8% as well. There's really I can't say there's no swearing. There's The Gate 2 has, the House 2 has really no swearing in it, and I think it's a good introduction to horror for kids. It's cute. It's fine. Compared to the first one, it's fine. Howling 3, The Marsupials. Ladies and gentlemen, I got this movie free with a bowl of soup. I got this movie seriously. There was a store called Saturday Matinee. I got this movie for free. They gave it to us for free. Now, if Reese Wilson and Chris Stanley can tell us, is this one of those time-honored movies that you guys love so much? Please let me know. But this is fucking horrible. 23%. They have the Howling 3 as some compared to some better than Friday the 13th. Some of the movies. Imagine that. Imagine that bullshit. Oh, and then of course, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2, 30%. Garbage Day. Jamie says, I think these numbers are fair. But Craig says, House is such a random series. Every entry totally different from each other. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be, right? It's not the same house, I don't think. No, 1 and 2 are different. I don't know. I haven't seen file. Let's see here. Shamrock says, I'm still trying to think how most of these are better than Jaws 4. Is there any justice in the world? No. The world is actually when it comes to Jaws 4 is actually we're all in unity with each other, singing Kumbaya with all our nation's flags in the background. Yeah, I got a free bowl of soup. Ryan says, I love the first house, then the second one. Yep. I always crack up when he says Garbage Day and Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think that's the only thing. I think that's why the 30% is there. Okay, continuing. Yeah, House 2, but Slumber Party Massacre 2 is actually quite good. And House 2 needs to be higher. Howling 3 needs to be 3. Reese and Chris, let me know. Okay. 1988. So we're getting close. See, look at here. 87. I'm sorry. There's one movie I didn't think. Did I get all of them? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I thought that there was one year that actually didn't have anything below a 60%. I think I'm wrong. Okay. 88. Monkey Shines at 53%. Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, 52. Fright Night Part 2 at 36%. Night of the Demons, 53%. Monkey Shines, I haven't seen it in a long time. Stephen King, I think that's actually low. Hellraiser 2, Hellbound at 50%. I actually like Hellraiser 2, even though Dr. Sherrard pisses me off. I know he doesn't say it like that, but whatever. Something like that. And then Fright Night 2. I know there's a 4K coming out, so maybe take a look at that. It's not that bad. 36%. I think I put it in the 50s. But again, Night of the Demons, 53%. Darren, I just did one of these, Night of the Demons. And I think we're all in agreement that I thought that the script was good. However, everything was just too dark. It's look at the tagline though. Angela is having a party. Jason and Freddy are too scared to come, but you'll have a hell of a time. I don't know. I think I think the voices of the demons are what bother me. So nice, I can't even do it. So nice you can come. Welcome to the body, or something like that. I'm not even gonna try. Monkey Shines, yeah, I one and done. I do like Hellbound. Friday Night Part 2, I do like. All right, let's go. Let's see. Are we going? Okay, 19. I think we're continuing with 1980. So let's take a look. Craig says Romero made some dull films outside of his dead films. Monkey Shines was one of the dull ones. Okay. And Mikey Jory, the caterpillar is so cute in the house too. And Grandpa. I like the little caterpillar. And Grandpa. It was sad what happened to Grandpa. And one of the greatest looking villains. I give it that. I love seeing, a good old dead zombie cowboy. It's great, creepy. All right. Get rid of Jordy there for a second. Here we go. Part 7, 33%. Friday the 13th. I agree with. Maybe just a tad bit higher. Maniac Cop, I had to put. It was so close of being, not fresh, but likable. 56%. Look at the next one, though. I had an aneurysm just now. 39%. 39% for Halloween 4. You guys know how much I love Halloween 4. It's the movie that got me into the franchise. It is, for me, my favorite Halloween movie. The beautiful Kathleen Kinmont's in it. It is the best, besides Psycho 2. It is the best comeback for a slasher of all time. There's nothing wrong, and everyone says The Mask. Take that out. How could Halloween 4 be anything below a 70%? I don't know. I just don't know. Maniac Cop at 56. Maniac Cop at a 56 compared to Halloween 4. Maniac Cop, good premise, good makeup, good kills. However, it feels like it's two movies in one. It actually drags out. Right now, I just can't. I can't. I'm aghast. Aghast. Chester says here, Halloween 4 and Friday Part 7 should have been higher scores. I agree. Except for, I think that maybe a little higher for Part 7. Yep. Hellraiser 2 is a great sequel. Psycho 2 is great. Fright Night Part 2 should be higher. Matthew says swap Maniac Cop and H4 ratings, and I'm happy, but still bump up H4. Yep. Come on. Yeah, Welshman. Fair scores for Part 7. Maniac Cop, like I said, Maniac Cop drags a little bit. But H4 should be way higher. Way higher. My brothers and sisters, H4 should be higher. Great return of Michael. Are you kidding me? And everyone says they should have kept the mask. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be real with ourselves for a moment. I'm going to knock down a lot of creators on YouTube who talk about they should have kept the mask. It's been 10 years. That mold or that version of the mask is gone. Every mask that you would get in a Halloween store or another store, besides these plastic ones, have changed in some aspects. This mask, but as I did last time, this mask from Ends, for 2018, and the one I have up there, the first initial release, have changed. They don't look the same. One has gotten better. This one has gotten better. It actually kind of looks decent. It doesn't have as much details as the first one that was issued. So that's why people are looking for the first one again to rehaul. I say it's just, you can't have the same mask in every movie. It doesn't make any sense. So please, I beg of you, without knocking this movie, please come to the fact or see the realization that the mask has to be different, because we don't know if it changed distributors, changed makers. I mean, I know behind the scenes it did, but for one day the guy wore the same mask. And because between 1 and 2 are the same timeline, it's gotten beat up, it's gotten burned, it's not going to be there. And the company who made it is not going to stop making masks because somebody wore their property and went around to kill people. If that was the case, then why are they still making Scream masks? I'm not going. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. But if you're saying that the only thing that brings the movie down is his mask, then you got to look deep inside yourself and see if it's even worth watching any more Halloween movies. Oh, Matthew says, I honestly don't mind the mask for H4. Don't like it when I was younger, but it has grown on me as time goes on. It does. It does. Maniac Cop should be a remake. So I think we're okay with these scores, except for Halloween 4. Oh, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. 5%, I think, is absolutely is low. I've had fun with this. There's a lot of us out there, including myself, that love Return of the Dead Part 2. Poster is iconic, and it's fun. It's another one of those movies where you can introduce your kids to horror. So I think it's okay. See, Frank, that's how I feel when people say a psychic shark can't take revenge. But they don't tell us that. Shamrock, they don't tell us it was a psychic shark. They just said, he saw, Brody saw the shark and had a heart attack. Really? I'm not getting into it, Shamrock. I'm not getting it in with you. Forget it. Not getting in with it. Can't. Scott says Maniac Cop is fun as hell. And Craig, I do agree with you. Return of the Living Dead 2 is crap compared to the first one. No argument there. Agree. But at 5%, Craig? 5%? By Chucky Jordy. Just restating what I just said. The H2 mask was burned, which is why they used a different one in Part 4. It was burned, buried, whatever you want to do. I'm not reading the book. Read the book. No, I'm not reading the book. I don't have time. I don't have time to read the book. There's a book? You mean of the original? They didn't make a book of Part 4, did they? Let me. Jaws: The Revenge book. They did. They did. Is that a 4.3? Based on the screenplay. Is it better than? I can't believe they made a book about it. How old is this book? 87. Okay. Can't believe they made a book. Whatever. No, I'm not reading the book, Matt. Forget it. Forget it. Oh, God. No, don't send me a copy. Shamrock's like, yes, there is a movie tie-in of Jaws: The Revenge. I can send you a copy. No. Which, you know what? I got a book in that I want to when we do a live, when TSL does a live, we could I'm very excited. I'm very excited. My heart was palpitating when I got it. I'll show it to you guys when we do a live on TSL. But yeah. Let's move on. Okay. We got a few more to go. A couple more. We're all having fun. Poltergeist 3, 15%. And Phantasm 2 at 33%. Poltergeist 3, a little low. I can understand why. It's kind of creepy in a high-rise, apartment building. And Phantasm 2, I think I kind of love. Which, this is kind of weird, though, because the way that this movie poster is set up for Phantasm 2, where you see them, they're in the sphere there, doesn't it look like they're brother and sister, kind of like flowers in the attic kind of thing going on? It's just, I don't know. And then Part 3, of course, we know Heather O'Rourke died during production. That's why at the end of the movie, when Nancy Allen's character, her aunt, is holding her at the end of the movie, you don't see her face. They just got another actress to come in and do it. Yeah, Scott Bainey. Yep. Poor Heather O'Rourke. Why am I turning over there? I'll put it right here on my TSL coaster. Phantasm 2 should be higher. I remember liking it more. Poltergeist 3 is good, but sad because it was Heather O'Rourke's last film. There wasn't a curse per se. I don't believe in curses, but she was misdiagnosed, and you know what? Back in the 80s, it could have been. It's so weird because I have, as many of you know, I work at an animal shelter part time, and there's a cat there who is constantly, not to be too graphic, opening its injury on its foot. Um, so there's some bleeding all over the place, and we're giving it medicine. And the vet said it was an autoimmune disease or something like that, autoimmune something. And then we look at autoimmune, and it covers so much that they can't give us a perfect diagnosis on this cat. I'm just like, why you guys just tell us what it is? It's another way of them saying we don't know. And it's not healing, it's not clotting, so it's autoimmune. Well, no shit. So if your body's not fixing itself, it's an immune disease, autoimmune disease. We know, but what? That's why I hate people when they say some people. I know I have them in my family are on the spectrum. Well, that's I'm not trying to get medical here. I don't want to. I'm just using it as a point. Okay, but where? And they all just like, they're on. Give me, is that your diagnosis, doctor? Is that your diagnosis for a $10 copay, but you'll charge my insurance thousands of dollars just to say, yeah, it's autoimmune. It's on the spectrum. Where? How can we fix this? Stop eating sugary food and greasy food, and it'll clear up. Bastards. All right, moving on. I saw these scores okay with a little bit. Maybe Phantasm a little higher. I think both of them are a little higher. Craig, Phantasm 2 was pure 80s fun. The original was very 70s independent. And then Matthew says, I enjoy most of the Phantasm films. They're wacky. They are wacky. Well, they certainly are that. 1989. We're getting to the end here. Leviathan, 23%. Friday the 13th, Part 8, 11%. The Fly 2, 33. Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Child, 30%. I think these scores, besides Leviathan, are actually Leviathan and The Fly. I like Part 5. If you guys know, if you followed TSL, I think Part 5 is criminally underrated, but I can understand why they put it at 30%. So I'm going to leave it there. The Fly, maybe a little higher. Jason, I don't know. If Darren was here right now, you say be 0. Leviathan, I remember having fun with Leviathan. I thought Leviathan was actually quite fun. Another one with Daniel Stern. He's in Chud, and he was in Leviathan. The Shamrock, Jamie says these scores are fair, but Shamrock says, I love Jason Takes Manhattan, The Fly 2, and Part 5. Yeah, I can have fun with Part 8. I can have fun with Jason, Takes Manhattan. I think. Thank you, Shamrock. Thank you. Now we're amending our relationship here. Oh yeah, that does she? Cool, dude. Yep. I maybe I'll do defending bad movies, and I'm going to do Part 8 because I think a lot of people say that Part 8 is terrible, but I think I remember having fun with it. I think this leaves a bad taste in Darren's mouth. We know it does. He absolutely hates this movie, not just because I think of the movie itself. I think because of what he went through to get it. Craig says Friday the 8th higher. Elm Street higher. The Fly 2 higher. Love all those sequels for various set pieces in them. Okay. If you guys haven't checked out Leviathan, check it out. It's a good underwater sea monster movie with Peter Weller, Dr. Peter Weller. Sorry, Doctor. And it's okay. All right, let's get to the end here. We all got stuff to do. We've been on for almost an hour and a half. Pretty good. All right, last one. Shocker at a shockingly 30%. Sleepaway Camp 3 at 22%. And the first superhero from New Jersey is back. The Toxic Avenger at 0. Damn you, damn you, damn you. Rotten Tomatoes, criminally underrated, part 2. Toxie goes to Japan to find his father, his long-lost father. Great kills, great setting. Just seeing the people of Japan look at Toxie as a monster, because they just feel him just running around, and people are not even looking at him and don't even care. One maybe takes a glance, and I think it's because they said, we've been through Godzilla so many times. Another monster in Japan is not going to frighten us. How dare you, dare you, dare you, dare you, dare you. You're like Herman Munster there. Darn, 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 darn. Sleepaway Camp, 22%. Sleepaway Camp, 22%, part 3. Yeah, it's not a great movie. Kills are okay. Shocker, shockingly underrated, 30%. Yeah, you're right, Craig. Absolutely. Shocker should be higher for the soundtrack alone. Yeah, remember the part where the prison guards are giving him mouth to mouth, and he bites that guy's lip, and the lip is being pulled down. And then he bites the one guy's fingers, and he goes, finger licking good. And they start kicking him on the ground. Oh, come on. Damn you, Rotten Tomatoes. Damn you, damn you, damn you. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you believe in those scores? So some of those movies should be higher. Some of those movies should be lower. I think some of them are kind of, actually, if you think about it, in a whole during this little presentation on Frankly Speaking, I think the 60 to 65% of these scores are right. They are right. Yeah, Craig, you're right. The MPAA cut him spitting the fingers out. I think you could get it now, right? On the Blu-ray, I think. So, you're right, Byron. Some of these movies should be higher. Should be higher. But let me know. Let me know which movies should be higher. Or just let me know which movies should be lower. I want to thank you guys for showing up. I want to thank you guys for watching afterwards, and I want to thank you guys for putting comments. And I'll be back. I'm going to release a short right now. I'm getting into those things. And plus, I think I have a video that's going to come out soon. But yeah, so thank you for being here. It's a beautiful Monday, and I hope it's beautiful where you are, because you're beautiful too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, no fancy outro, no bells and whistles, just Frankly Speaking. Take care. See you soon. There. Damn you for putting